Welcome to Santa Pod for the 2019 Motorsport UK British Drag Racing Championship featuring the Pro Mods. We're midway through the season now and for the fourth round with the 26th annual Mopar Euro Nationals. Based around the iconic Chrysler, Dodge and Plymouth muscle cars of the 70s, this event is a perfect fit for the fastest, most powerful door cars on the planet. As we go into this round, the points leader is Mark Hartvelt, winner of the previous round. So on with qualifying session number 1. So first out in qualifying is John Webster with the Fast Company Mustang. John's been making some strides this summer, but they still can't quite nail down the perfect combination. That looks like a pretty good launch and a pretty good run to half track, but then some telltale death smoke through the finish line, 691, 175. John had an issue like that earlier on in the year. Hopefully that's not too serious. Up next, Mick Payne taking on the lucky devil himself, Wayne Nicholson. Both of these two really yet to get going in 2019, but there is no time like the present as always. Wayne's wife Belinda guides him into stage. Mick Payne with the Camaro takes his time a little bit getting in. Well, pretty good launches for both. A little bit out of shape for Wayne. 879, only 94 miles an hour. Turbo against nitrous this time. France against the UK. Jean Delemont, another one who's made great strides this summer with a big power plant in the Camaro. Unfortunately, rolled the beams at the start line. No trouble at all though for Nick Davis. Blast on through. 6:15 and a new personal best speed of 245 miles an hour. The last pair is the pair that, quite frankly, since the first event have been duking it out for the championship this summer. Kev Slyfield and Mark Hartvelt. Unfortunately, the only real block on Kev Slyfield's summer was not qualifying back at the main event. That could hurt him come the end of the year, but we've still got a few more rounds to go before we get there. So, first qualifying session, Kev went into the 5s back at the Summer Nats. Mark Hartvelt's been there a couple of times this season as well. On this run goes 6:02 at 2:38. Kev backed out early. So, a lot of work going on in John Webster's pit after that cloud of smoke at the end of the run. Absolutely huge turbos on these cars. Look at that compared to the cylinder head. And it was a busy few days leading up to the event for Kev Slyfield as well.
And then we were waiting for parts. We found out that the parts we were using that were supposedly the right parts were actually the wrong parts. So we got the right parts turned up on Friday. So we spent all last night changing those parts over and modifying other bits to work with it. And hopefully it's all going to stay together.
You know something, I think that's every drag racer's motto, that. Hope it all stays together. Mick Payne and Wayne Nicholson with the Lucky Devil. Much better launch that time for Wayne. Looks like that's going to be all the way through. Wow, it wasn't all the way through. 6:56 at only 175. Mick Payne with a 7:14, a personal best speed for him of 2:10. So Nick Davis and Jean Delemont. These paired up in round 1, turbo car against nitrous car. Flying launch, both of them head left actually. And then Jean heads left, right, absolutely all over the place. My goodness me, how did he hang on to that? 6:08 at 2:46 for Nick Davis. His personal best at both ends of the scale. Jean, I think, in the 6:21, lucky to have a car. Q2 for these two. Mark Hartvelt rolls the beams. He actually pedalled that on the launch as well, unusually for him. What have they got this time round? 6:22 and a 5:97 for Kev. Only 2:33 though. He's been faster than that before. Well done to all of them. So it looks to be a bit of puzzling stuff going on in Wayne Nicholson's pit, but Mark Hartvelt should be pretty happy after the first 2 qualifying runs.
Yeah, we prepare everything now for copy the run of yesterday. That was a 5.9. So hopefully work out what we do in the car and go faster than Kev.
And Nick Davis is probably even more delighted.
Yeah, it is still going in the right direction. The speed's right there where we hoped it would get up to this weekend. We just ran, I think, 246, 247, 246 it just ran, 246.7. So, and that backed up the speed that we ran in the first qualifier, 6.0. It's the first time we've been 6.0 with a Pro Mod car. Yeah, I think there's a bit left in it too. It was moving around a bit in the middle of the track then, so we've got another qualifier to go and we'll see. But yeah, fingers crossed.
So John Webster fixed for the last qualifying session. He's already got a number on the board, so he will be in the show. However, wants to make the most of the track time in the nice summer evening weather. Well, John drifts out towards the wall, wisely backs out of it early. He's coming to a very, very quick stop as well, actually. Problems for Wayne Nicholson on that one as well. He's well qualified, though, with the 6.5 from earlier. Mick Payne with the Camaro. What a strong-looking run for Mick. 7.08, 2.12, another personal best speed as well. So these two looking to improve from their runs from earlier. Nick ran his first 6.0, and as I said, Jean was lucky to have a car. I think a water line or something like that came off, the water hose came off, and he really had his hands full. What can they do? Q3 at the Mopars. Door handle to door handle. Nick backs out of it early. Jean doesn't. 6.09, 2.31, his first 6.0 in any kind of competition. Well done to that team. So, Kev Slyfield and Mark Hartvelt. What Mark was actually alluding to in that interview was he actually ran a 5-second test pass on Friday here. Hasn't managed that yet here in qualifying. I hate to say when it matters, but at least they know they've got it in the car and they can do it. Two side-by-side 5-second European door cars going at it in the last session. And once again, beauty for Kev Slyfield with a 5.97.2, 2.35, slightly quicker, 6.01 at 2.36 for Mark Hartvelt.
We started off the day with pretty much the same settings we had at the last meeting, but we reconfigured the boost control a little bit. So we didn't expect anything out of the ordinary, but about the 8th the car started to nose over a little bit, and I got out of it, and it was a little bit too late really, but yeah, we damaged the piston, and on inspection it looks like detonation. We had high air temperature sensors readings, so we managed to identify that there was detonation throughout the whole engine because each rod bearing was flattened a little bit. So we've replaced all the bearings, put a new piston in, put a new liner in it, and gone out with a bit more fuel and a bit less ignition, and just see whether the car was in good health or not. But it didn't quite feel right. Maybe I'm a bit oversensitive at the moment, but it kind of felt a little bit lethargic, so I kind of shut it off and thought I'll just check it out again and make sure everything's okay.
Very good pass. We've been increasing every time with the crew chief over here and the pilot Jean Dulamont. He's been a very good pilot on the last pass. He has a hose, cooling hose that blew up and put some cooling liquid on the rear tire. That's why he was like drifting on the side. But since he's a very good pilot, he saved the car and his life. And so this time with some little small adjustments, he's now very close to the 5-second pass. And so we wish to thank Brandon from Switzer Dynamics that is helping us to tune the car and all the stuff about NOS and that's all.
So the qualifying table looks like this. Some good matchups in progress and a much better result for Mick Payne.
Yeah, we're getting used to the new combination with the clutch setup. Made a few alterations from the last meeting to try and make it more easy for me to drive, and then to start tuning the thing, you know. But yeah, we're little steps at a time, and it seems to be working, you know. Well, I think we should be able to run mid-6s, no problem at all. Maybe even the odd low 6 once we can get on the tune-up. But as you know, these things take time, and you sort of creep up on them. You have your bit of luck, most of it's bad. But yeah, you know, I think it's realistically the car from the previous owner originally ran 630s, so we know the car's capable of it, and we've probably got a little bit more power than it used to have, and the car's lighter as well now.
So, round 1 of eliminations on Sunday. Kev Slyfield gets a bye run due to the odd lot field. Missing Bobby Wallace this weekend, actually. And he just stages and takes the green light. That is all he needs to do to move on to the next round. So the first race proper is going to be the man we just saw, Mick Payne, taking on points leader Mark Hartvelt with the Voodoo Hemi. How cool is that for the Mark and the team? They had just a horrible year last year, but they didn't even have a year actually. It kind of finished before it started. But this summer, kind of everything's gone right for them so far anyway. It's always just a moment away from going wrong in drag racing, as we all know. So heads up, first to the finish line wins. Netherlands versus the UK. Mark Hartvelt with an enormous wheelie. However, expertly pedalled and across the finish line first. 6.22 at 2.14. Takes out Mick's 9.22. Watch out the right side of the screen. You can see Mark Hartvelt go flying past on 2 wheels. That's a view you wouldn't normally get from anywhere else. Look at the nose hike on that. Well, the story afterwards was a weld on the wheelie bar broke. And that's why the car was sent more skyward than it normally would have done. Excellent driving job by Mark, and he's into the semi-finals. Two of the UK's finest turbo cars were also missing. Actually, Chris Isaacs, unfortunately, since they had a bang back at the door slammers. But these two have been getting quicker and quicker. John Webster on the far side with the Fast Company Mustang, having some issues this weekend. However, Nick Davis, Rob Loring in the 6.0s at 2.46. They're getting closer and closer to being unbeatable, this pair. Real good race till just before half track. A bang underneath John Webster's car. You don't often see that in any kind of turbo car. A 6.2 at 2.39 for Nick Davis. Let's hope John Webster, well, it's never good when you see a flash of flame from any engine, but for a turbo engine that's especially not good. Jean Delamont and Wayne Nicholson. Wayne, much more like it in qualifying, into the 6.5. Jean, though, 6.0 with the Camaro. Excellent launches for both of them. Jean's got his nose out in front at half track, and at the finish line, 6.10 takes out a 6.40. Excellent racing. So as we take a look round the show and shine, it seems that there have been problems all round for many of the drivers, with a very disappointing weekend for John Webster.
It's just a learning process still, but yeah, we definitely got positives from the weekend, but it's quite expensive learning curve this weekend. We're just missing the point a little bit in a few areas of the car where we've just literally gone into, so it's new ground for us and we're trying to go fast, and the combination's obviously a little bit different than most, so we just got to kind of learn by breaking it, I think.
No, we intended to do a half pass just to get some more information, but in the burnout it didn't sound right, it didn't feel right, and then backing up it sounded really odd. Had to take the stage light to get the win, but so we kept going, just took the stage light, but as it turns out, it was a bit of a funny one, because one of the magnets out of the degree wheel, which signals to the crank trigger to give it spark, flew out somewhere, so someone obviously caught it in the crowd, I'd imagine, and it was only firing on 6 cylinders, so that was the reason we shut it off.
The first run yesterday we got some tyre shake, which is just a track stroke tuning issue, you know. The second run we went 6.56 and we shut it off early purposely. That gave us the data that we needed. That was our first run this year. That's the run we should have done at Easter. One of the big changes we made over the winter was a new torque converter, and that run yesterday gave us the numbers we were looking for. We rushed to get out yesterday because we had an oil leak, and then they shut us off on the line with the same oil leak, and then we just run this morning. Encouraging numbers, 0.99, 60 foot, good in the 330. A good race actually. Then we had the burst plate go to 1,000 foot. We're trying to be a bit greedy, and we ran it too lean at the top end. But we haven't caused any damage, it's just a burst plate, so we're okay.
And a bit of welding last night as well, I hear.
Yeah, I broke the wheelie bar yesterday, so we sort of made literally a last minute repair to the wheelie bar, yeah.
The one thing you take from being around these cars all the time is that you never stop A, learning, and B, working on them. And also C, spending money, as Kev Slyfield and everybody has found out on many, many occasions. This is a race for the final. It is Kev in the blown car against Jean de Le Mans in the nitrous car. If they both hook up and go, this is going to be one hell of a race. Kev with a visible reaction time advantage off the start line, and he blasts to one of his quickest runs, 5.96, 2.36, 6.08, quickest ever in competition for Jean. One hell of a race. Everybody is getting quicker and more difficult to beat. So, talking of too difficult to beat, Nick Davis and Mark Hartveld, both of these two qualified with 6 zeros. One with the turbo car, one with the blown car. Now Nick could do his fellow countryman a big favour here by taking out Mark Hartveld, but unfortunately that looked like tyre shake off the start line. 6.09 at 2.27 seals the deal for Mark Hartveld. It's another final round for the Voodoo Hemi team. So we're on board with Mick Payne for a test run. Lots of steering and pedalling going on for Mick. Still goes 7.28 at 2.05. They are on that learning curve with the clutch, but they are getting there.
Yeah, we're in the final again. Yeah, we have problems. The first run today, we broke the wheelie bar. That's why we go so high to the 8 mile. But yeah, you know, steering, shifting, nothing is perfect now. So, and we welded it after that run. And the second one is broken again. So now I weld it again, but I drill a hole in it and a hard steel bolt in it. So we hopefully it stays on, and hopefully we get in the 5s now.
So the final round is, well, you could have kind of picked it at the beginning of the weekend. However, that's a little bit unfair to everyone else. Jean de Le Mans, Nick Davis, John Webster, they're all knocking on the door of being in a final round. It will happen soon, just how long? Well, it looks like problems for Kev Slyfield after the burnout. The team are pushing the car back. But there's one important bit at the front of the engine that's missing. The blower belt has unfortunately snapped. It's going to be a victory lap for Mark Hartveld. Once again, picks up the wheels and heads for the wall. Mark doesn't need to stay in it this time or pedal.
Yeah, I'm happy with the weekend. Yeah, we run low 6s and 5.9 on Friday. But yeah, the final, Kev was broken and I was alone. Bad tyre shake, so not what we want, but you said a win is a win.
And have you learnt more from the data so you can go into the European finals a little bit stronger?
Yeah, we have learned a lot of the data. So hopefully we can go with the Swedish guys and step it up a little.
So that gives Mark a much more commanding lead, but the next round will be the big one. The FIA European Finals with over 20 competitors and many more points available to win. Join us then.